Welcome back to the Rec League, where sports, music, and culture come to play. I'm your host with the most, Sammy Smith. On my left, we got the Brunkle, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoops, and on my right, the esteemed Kennington Lloyd Smith III. What's good, fellas? How y'all feeling today?
Damn, excited.
Yeah, football is finally here. I'm feeling good. Some news on my end. I picked up a little freelance position with the Associated Press covering Bama football. So back on the Bama beat. So I was out there in Tuscaloosa this week. Yeah, man. Give it up. W's in the chat. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. So feeling good. Got a chance to be back around the program. So obviously looking forward to Bama Florida State on Saturday. But that's what's new with me. Dukes, you was out there in Colorado for a couple of times. See you asking Prime some questions
Yeah.
on the socials. How was that trip?
Man, it was cool, man. Got out there, got the so actually went out there, got to watch practice, got to talk to everybody in the building from recruiting to strategy, man. It was cool, man, just to just kind of see where they are. Do some comparisons. Like the week before, I was in Arkansas, kind of got the same treatment. So next week, I'm thinking maybe I'll hit Auburn or maybe even Georgia. So just doing my yearly college tour and just trying to figure out what the pulse of each program is, where I got good relationships. So that's always fun, and to see how what they do during the week translates to Saturdays is always cool. So nah, man, just out here moving around and staying out the way.
Yeah, man, I'm happy for y'all. Glad y'all got something going. That first episode we was respectfully unemployed, and
I'm
now
still respectfully unemployed.
I mean, yeah, but we moving and shaking. That's what we do.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's where the respect came in.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like the respect was we still plug. It's just right now it's more W9 than it is W2.
Yeah,
If you
facts.
know, you know.
Fast, yeah, cause I did just fill out W9 with the Associated Press, so we still looking for the
Hello?
full time, but we still looking for the full time. You know what I'm saying? But we got this in the meantime. So, you know what I'm saying? Glory to God. We gonna make it happen for sure.
For sure.
Hello, hey man, hey look, after this show, I need you to put me on because I heard about 5 people at that Colorado press conference say Associated Press. And I'm like, I'm trying to see how I can associate this press. How can I associate with the
Yeah,
press?
no. Now we can talk for sure. We can
All right,
talk.
bet.
Look at that. Plugs all around. Well, I mean, Ken, you said it though. Football back. This week is week 1. Week 0 already kind of happened, but we want to kind of just talk about a little football here, man. Full preview of the season. Go down through every Power Four conference. Talk about a little group of 5 teams, but I'm gonna start in the Big 12s. Dukes was already out at Colorado. I just kind of want to hear like one sleeper that y'all got in the Big 12.
Sleeper team. I'm gonna say I'm not sure how much of a sleeper they are now, but I really like what UCF is doing. UCF didn't have the best season. They go back to Scott Frost and they lost a lot of pieces, but they retained a lot too. UCF has traditionally recruited well to be in that. Even when they were still a group of 5, they recruited well. They recruited like a Power Four as a group of 5. They continue that there in the talent-rich state of Florida. Seeing some of the guys that they had that secondary that they put together, I think it's going to be one of the better ones in the conference. And to just see that to the ability for Scott Frost to galvanize that fan base, the perfect hire. Last time we saw him in that role, I think that I think that these guys were able to play above their talent level, even though they had some talent. But even claiming the national championships, it had that fan base with the feeling that hey, we're bigger than what we, than what people think that we are. I think if even I don't have to know the entire roster to know that if you got 22 to 25 players that believe that they're better than what they are, then eventually you see that some of that whole play to that manner. So as a sleeper team, I just think from a CEO's perspective, it's almost like what my man did, the young brother who got Red Lobster back on track. Like we didn't have to, we didn't, we didn't have to know every general manager in the system to know that Red Lobster is back because of the leadership that he was under and his past history. So I think it's the same thing that Scott Frost can bring to UCF on his second time around.
Yeah, I definitely will call them a sleeper for sure.
Yeah, I'm about to say I don't know if too many people are talking about UCF.
They're also probably one of the biggest wild cards just for the Scott Frost factor. So I like that pick. If I'm picking, and the way that I picked my sleepers is I went and I looked at the over under totals. If your over under total was less than 8.5, I consider you a sleeper because they're basically calling you a 7-5 team for the most part. So my sleeper in the Big 12 is Kansas, a team that had a lot of hype going into last year. Based off what they did the year before, Lance Leipold was like one of the hottest coaches on the coaches carousel, and Jaden Daniels and Devin Neal, they had all this video game hype. It didn't quite materialize on the field, but towards the end of the year, they started to play a lot better. I think the Colorado game was one in particular that kind of stuck out at that point. So Jalen Daniels is back. He's seen more football than most in the country. He's definitely one of those, like, how does this dude still have eligibility players? Like, saying he's one of those on that side. So I like where Kansas is at to have a bounce back year, completely flying under the radar, unlike last year. So I think them being in a little bit more of a familiar position and then kind of dealing with what they went through last year with the media attention and all of that, and then being knocked down, them getting a chance to maybe rebuild themselves, come back, and be a little bit more of a force in the Big 12 is something that I anticipate. So Kansas will be my sleeper.
No, Kansas is a good pick. I like Jalen Daniels a lot. Honestly, I might go with Colorado as my sleeper. I like what they're doing out there. I feel like outside of of course, you got to subtract, Shedeur and Travis not being there. But this might be one of the more or most talented teams that Prime has had in his time in Colorado. Obviously, there's a big question mark at the QB position with transfer coming in. You got the kid coming off the bench. If that's the answer there, I think they could surprise some teams. They could surprise some teams down the stretch of the season. As far as that's as far as a sleeper goes. I mean, it depends on what you want to describe as a sleeper. Because Ken, you said it like under 8.5 wins. I don't think they're projected there quite yet, but I mean, the way I kind of was really describing the sleeper before you said that was just like a team that, not amongst like the top 3 when we were really talking about contenders in the conference. And the one that I really had in mind was Utah, because coming off of that season last year, I don't necessarily think it was like their fault. A lot of injuries, including the Cam Rising, led to a lot of like instability. They ranked 128th in lineup stability in the country last year. They started 4 different quarterbacks, 11 different receivers, 11 different receivers and tight ends, 8 different linemen. And the defense had 22 different starters too. But the good thing is that this offense is going to be back. They're going to dominate in the trenches like they always do. They got all top 6 of their offensive linemen are back. They hired Jason Beck and then brought over the quarterback from New Mexico as well.
And then 2 of them offensive linemen are two of those offensive linemen are projected to be first round picks when they go.
Right, Spencer Fano's All-American.
Yeah.
So, and then they got 2 dynamic backs from the portal, and this is gonna be like an RPO like heavy offense that's gonna dominate up front. And if they can do that, they're gonna shock a lot of teams, especially if Devin Dampier improves as a passer.
It sounds like you're soft launching Utah as a playoff team campaign.
I don't know if I'm soft launching that. I don't know if I'm gonna go that far yet, but I would not.
You're making a compelling case. I mean,
I would not be surprised.
You're making a compelling case. I mean, you make it to the Big 12 championship game. You have 1 or 2 losses. You never really know. So I'm liking what you're putting down with Utah, but I just want to kind of throw that out there. It does sound like you was making it sound good. Like Utah could be kind of one of those surprise teams this year.
They could be. I mean, but as far as like favorites to win the conference, like who do you think is taking home the Big 12 crown?
Yeah, I got Arizona State. Little chalky, but I just like what they're doing out there. Kenny Dillingham has proven to be a high-level coach. What he did at Oregon, bringing that over to Arizona State, making them nationally relevant. Sam Leavitt, probably the most underrated quarterback in the country when you think about, and it's crazy because of his production, and he's a returning champion. But you have all of the hype, especially in the SEC, and even Julian Sain and Bryce Underwood. Other players across the country are getting much more hype than Sam Leavitt. So like what they got coming back at quarterback. It seems so far removed now, but they really had Texas on the rope. I mean, it took a 4th and long conversion for Texas to win that game. And Arizona State could have been, in the quarterfinals or the semifinals of the playoffs. I forgot which round it was. But I like where Arizona State is at. Like Kenny Dillingham, like what he's building there. Like the NFL, a lot of college comes down to coaching quarterback. And I feel like we're talking about combinations. Arizona State probably has the best starting off the gate. They've already been there. They had the experience. They're not going to be frazzled by media attention and national hype and all of that because they went through it last year. So we'll go to Arizona State.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Colorado. could have been a sleeper pick based on what people are saying. I think the over under is what 6.5 maybe for them to win.
Yeah.
And I just looking at the roster, there's nobody, and I've said this multiple times. I just don't see a juggernaut in the Big 12. I think there's going to be teams. It's going to be based on who loses to who. I think it's going to be multiple teams with 2 losses. Some with even 3. And I think you can be 9-3 and make the Big 12 championship because it's so much parity in that conference. But when it comes to but if you were just to compare blue chip ratings, guys who came out with 4 or 5 star rankings, just to measure pedigree. I would believe I haven't done the research, but I would believe that Colorado would be in the top half of the Big 12, probably the top 4, top 3, if not number 1. When you think about like Caden Salter, everybody talks about how highly rated Julian Lewis was, but I think him and Caden Salter were similar. I think by the time at the end, I think Julian Lewis was right around number 9 or number 10 in quarterbacks, and I think Caden Salter was a top 50 player, top 7 quarterback coming out of his class. Where I remember covering Auburn, where he was highly sought after. He was like one of those transformational type quarterbacks that Auburn needed to land at the time, and he ended up signing with Tennessee, and that was a gut punch for Auburn. So Caden Salter, when you look at Larry Johnson, the right tackle who was at Tennessee, another blue chip type guy, who would be starting at Tennessee if it were not a generational talent behind him that was pushing in David Sanders. So he's a guy that Tennessee didn't want to lose. When I called to Tennessee, they said, no, he could play. He ran with the ones a ton in the spring, and he looks the part. And then you look at the guy next to Jordan Seaton, who's Colorado's potential top 5 pick next year, and Xavier Hill, who started out at LSU, who ends up becoming an all-conference performer at Memphis, and now he's back in Power 4 football. But when you look at the Blesto report, he has a 4th-round grade on him already with the ability to play himself in the day 2. So when you talk about the most NFL talent that Colorado's ever had along the offensive line, this year. You've got 8 guys who played major college football on that offensive line. And this is one of those things where you say if Colorado had this offensive line protecting Shedeur last year, how much better does that season look? Coach Prime has been on record multiple times saying that he feels like this is a better team, even with the loss of his 2 sons, Travis Hunter, and multiple starters and 3 NFL draft wide receiver draftees, including Travis Hunter. But when you talk about LeJontay Wester and Jimmy Horn, and even a Will Shepherd, who accounted for himself well in the preseason before landing on Green Bay's practice squad. So, yeah, I think it's just a lot to like about Colorado. I do have a question about them at linebacker and safety up the middle, but I think if these guys can at least play to the level that we've seen them play before, then Colorado has a better than a good shot to come out on top.
I ain't mad at that. I mean, it sounds like you ready to just throw Colorado in the national championship picture, like real national championship.
Yeah, hey, and like I said, y'all are selling it. Y'all are selling it a lot. You can't say, you mentioned those receivers. Shout out to them. They all made the 53 in the NFL. So
yeah,
shout out to those guys. Late round draft picks, but still, found a way onto their rosters.
No, for sure.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with Texas Tech though. I think Texas Tech wins this conference. Obviously, they spent a ton of money on this roster this year. One of the top ranked portal classes in the country, and we'll get to the specifics. But 2 new coordinators there, Mark Leftwich coming from Texas State. And I think that's really a big deal. Mac Leftwich, my bad, coming from Texas State. It's a huge deal. Last year, that Texas State offense was ranked 5th in total yards, 7th in points. When he took over Texas State, in 2022, they were 110th, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Last 2 years, they were top 15 offenses in the country, like Duke and coach. He's got Baron Morton back at quarterback. They added Reggie Virgil to the mix. They shored up that offensive line in the portal. And then on the defensive side, they brought in Shield Wood, who came over after 1 year in Houston. Another coordinator with track records of turning around units. Houston went from having 105th ranked defense to, being 25th, I think, last year. They got defensive playmakers all over the field. Romello Height, David Bailey on the edge, Lee Hunter, Skylar Gill-Howard on the D-line, a couple guys in the secondary that they brought in through the portal, and then they got Jake Rodriguez, who might be one of the more underrated linebackers in the country, possibly could be one of the best linebackers in the country this year. So a lot of question marks and a lot of new pieces, and the schedule's tough. I think they're at Utah, at Arizona State, and at K-State this year, but the talent is definitely there, and if it all comes together, they could definitely win this conference and possibly compete for the national championship.
Yeah, shout out Landman. Did either of y'all watch Landman or start watching Landman?
No.
Okay. Well, like that's Texas Tech has a really big presence on that show, and Corey Campbell, the one that's bankrolling all of this for Texas Tech, like he has like a similar character in the show who's like a main character. So y'all get on Win Man.
I got to.
For sure. I mean, I just kind of noticed no one said Iowa State. Obviously, week 0, they had a decent showing against K-State in Dublin, but no love for Iowa State here.
Yeah, not as the champion. I can't even call them a sleeper either. They feel like they've been probably one of the more relevant Big 12 teams the last couple of years, but no, I just don't see it for them as far as like winning it, but I think they'll be in the mix.
Yeah, 1,000%. I believe they will.
All right, there we go. Can't be mad at that at all. Let's move on to the ACC. Give me a sleeper in the ACC, Ken. Who you looking at?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Georgia Tech. Just the way that Brent Key is building that program, I like how they play. They have an identity. They have a culture. And I know they lost some players in the portal, but culture, identity, those type of things don't graduate or don't leave through the portals. It's something that you can build and sustain. So I like what they're doing there. Haynes King, another really underrated quarterback. You saw a little bit of what they put on display, that overtime game against Georgia. They obviously upset Florida State early in the year, which kind of set off a lot in that conference. So like where Georgia Tech is at right now. And, the schedule is pretty favorable. I know they have a game against Clemson. They obviously got to play against Georgia too, but in the ACC, I think they're in prime position to make some noise. So I'm going with Georgia Tech.
Haynes King, sleeper. I know we're going to get into Heisman, but dark horse Heisman candidate?
Could be. If Georgia Tech can find a way into like the ACC championship game, they're probably going to be a top 20 team at that point. So there's a pathway there.
All right.
Dukes, give me a sleeper in the ACC.
I got to see where they're ranked, and I apologize for not knowing, but I don't hear a ton of people talk about Louisville being able to be a team that would actually win the ACC. We're basically saying that it's going to come down. Basically, it's Clemson's league to lose for the most part. But I think Louisville is that sleeper team. When you've got another I always like to talk about pedigree. When you got a former blue chip like Miller Moss coming over from USC, I think that him in that system with Braum, I just think the way he can get rid of the ball, the arm talent that he has, he can present problems for ACC teams. And we also know that when Louisville gets rolling, they like to put up those crooked numbers. So I think that just based on the talent that they have, looking at some of the defenders that they have, I think if that offense gets rolling and he's the guy that you think he is, I think Louisville can surprise some people.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's
a lot. 9-4 last year. Nobody even talked about it.
Exactly. Yeah. I think along the same line.
Yeah, Jeff Brom he's that guy for sure.
Yeah, Jeff Brom is definitely that guy. And kind of like using your formula, Dukes, like for my sleeper, coach and quarterback, I think like pound for pound, Rhett Lashley might be the best coach in the conference.
Right.
He'd be one of the top 10 coaches in the country, top 5 even.
Right.
Back-to-back 11-win seasons at SMU is not an easy thing to do. Hasn't been done since I think 85 was the last time they did that.
Right.
They returned 6 starters on offense, including Kevin Jennings, a couple of good offensive linemen there. They're going to have to rebuild the receiving core and the backfield, but they did grab a couple guys in the portal. They lost some playmakers on defense, but they completely rebuilt the defensive line in the portal, and I really like the secondary. But the front was the key to their defense last year, and that's like there's only one real commodity on that defense right now, and that's like Terry Webb. The rest of those guys are just talented, and you're just going to have to find a guy. The schedule is tough. They got Baylor and TCU out of conference. They have Miami and Louisville at home and Clemson on the road. But I think Rhett Lashley is a good enough coach to make it work. And I don't think it's really smart to doubt them. It's kind of crazy to me that they made the playoff last year and they're kind of flying under the radar.
Man, yeah, no, you're right. I want to say this too. I did not mention Ike Brown and Duke Watson at all. And I apologize. Isaac Brown was the ACC Rookie of the Year last year, had 1,200 yards as a freshman. So I just want to put that on Louisville too. I apologize. Isaac, I ain't gonna call you Isaac. I apologize to you, brother, man, but a phenomenal player, and I ain't even mentioned him. That's my bad.
Dabo, Sammy did not mean that when he said Rhett Lashley was the best coach in the ACC. Shout out to him though.
I said pound for pound, bro. Pound for pound. Dabo got talent at Clemson that Rhett Lashley don't have at SMU, and Rhett has been able to turn around back-to-back 11-win seasons. If he does it again this year, we're gonna have to have some conversations.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but I think there's something to be said about taking Clemson, who historically has never been what they are now, and taking them to a national championship level. If you can elevate a non-historic championship program to a perennial national championship level, that's a different conversation. But Rhett Lashley is, obviously a lead in his own right. But the best,
I'll say this for Clemson.
Let's just give it a little time.
For Clemson, growing up, it was Clemson and Georgia Tech. Like, hey, and now when you don't think about Georgia Tech in the same breath with Clemson, but those were the Jefferson Pilot games that we were watching on Saturdays. So to see Clemson ascend to that level, I agree with you. But Rhett Lashley is also elevating SMU to that level. So maybe their future and present maybe type deal. So we'll see.
Absolutely, for sure.
Future with the Dreads versus future with the new mayor of Detroit.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Lori Lightfoot.
Morgan Freeman.
No, that's so you must have Clemson winning the conference then, Ken.
Yeah, sure. I mean, y'all didn't know that ACC stands for another Clemson championship?
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right here with you.
So. Yeah, I said enough said. I mean, I think the more interesting question is there another playoff team in the ACC?
On paper, should be Miami. If you get Carson Beck, if the offensive coordinator at Miami says that Carson Beck who he thinks he is, I mean, yes. And when I talk to some players at Georgia, they do feel like Carson Beck may have been restricted by the talent around him and the scheme. So you guys are UGA grads. You know what people say about Mike Bobo. So is this an opportunity?
There was a stark regression under Mike Bobo. But, I mean, going from Todd Monken, Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers to Mike Bobo, I don't even know who was Georgia's best receiver? Like Arian Smith, and he led the nation in drops, but he was still probably the best receiver that they had.
Right.
Dominic Lovett.
Yeah. It wasn't all on Beck, but I think that there was some regression. So, Miami, definitely, Sammy, you have another ACC team that you think could potentially make the playoff?
I mean, I think I'm not a big fan of Carson Beck. I think he made some bad decisions at times at Georgia last year.
The Florida game was rough.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not gonna be putting my eggs in the Miami basket, but I do think SMU has a chance to make the playoff again this year.
Okay.
At large bid. Yeah. But no, I'm with y'all. I think it's Clemson's conference to lose.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. I just think, and when you talk about defensive line, when you got TJ Parker and Peter Woods, when you got two potential top 10 picks on the defensive line, that usually bodes well for whoever they play for. It doesn't matter. Like the last time Auburn was relevant, Bo Nix was the quarterback, but you also had Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson, which meant more than Bo Nix, to be honest. So give me Peter Woods and TJ Parker to dominate that. I just don't, nobody can block those two in the ACC period.
Yeah. I mean, even on the offensive side, I mean, just this shit's crazy. The national average for like returning production is 53%.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson's returning 80% of their production from last season.
Yeah, and then probably stacked the top. I don't know what they were into recruiting. Probably stacked the top 10 class on top of that, top 15 at the worst.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and then at the spot where they lost most of their production, Phil Mafia, you bring in a 5-star and Gideon Davidson, I mean, yeah.
I mean, they got all top 4 receivers. They got 3 of the top 4 receivers back from last year. Tyler Brown, who didn't play, is back from injury. Had a big 2023 season.
Yeah,
like, they're gonna have
Westco, Antonio Wood. Yeah, they got a strong core.
Real strong core. I think that big test this weekend against LSU is gonna tell a lot about both of those teams.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it on to the Big Ten. Do you have a sleeper in the Big Ten? Dukes, I'm gonna go back to you.
I'm gonna go Nebraska. I think Dylan Raiola. I think Matt Rule is so now we get to see you've got a veteran, even though he's only a sophomore, you got a veteran sophomore, which we don't hear a lot of times, and Dylan Raiola. You also have returning a lot of production on offensive line. Then you've got man, what's the kid's name from Cal?
Naziah Hunter.
Yeah,
Naziah Hunter, and they got a guy from Kentucky, I believe.
Hankey.
Boom.
Yeah.
You got them the weapons.
Georgia
right?
wanted them bad.
Yeah. So now you got them the weapons, and I think that Matt Rule now is able to kind of say, you know what, now I can play around and do what I'm good at, which is making sure that I get the playmakers the ball, and you'll be able to showcase Raiola. So I think that when you talk about a battery that nobody wants to play, if you're a top tier team and you got to go into Nebraska where they're a rabbit for a win, and you have somebody who can move the ball, and you have and it's not that long ago where people were comparing Dylan Raiola to Pat Mahomes because of his arm sliding and the way he threw the ball, and he could be a transformational, generational type quarterback. I just don't, as a true freshman, I think he accounted for himself well. So I think as a sleeper pick, I got to go Nebraska because of what they can do as far as getting the ball down the field.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, that was my sleeper too, was Nebraska. For mostly the same reasons you just said. Another name you left out on that offense is Emmett Johnson. He's
part
of that offense. But they also have one of the best secondaries in the country with Sean Singleton, Marquise Buford, Malcolm Hartzog, Sierra Wright. The only really big question mark about that team is like the defensive front. They lost every starter in the front six. But your secondary don't mean anything if you can't get a pass rush. But if they can get one, then the Black Shirts are going to be tough to score on this year. They were a top 20 defensive unit last year. They're a pass rush away from being like a real serious threat.
Yeah, Dukes, you brought up a good point about Raiola. It is interesting how he went from generational quarterback to overlooked in 1 year, even though they kind of shifted the culture at Nebraska. Like, they went from, I don't even know how many losing seasons they had in a row, 7, 8. They go to a bowl game, win it his first year starting. And if we're talking about Big Ten quarterbacks, he's definitely not among the top 3 most hyped guys right now. If we're talking about Sayin, Underwood, and I'm missing somebody right now. Probably Drew Aller.
Yeah,
We'll probably be the top 3. So
Dante Moore is
Dante Moore. Yeah. So interesting point on Raiola in Nebraska. I think we would think about them a lot differently if they ended up pulling up that Ohio State upset.
Is Dante Moore the starter yet?
I don't know if he's been named. I don't know if he's been named.
Because Dan Lanner was tripping the other day. They was like,
soon he needs.
Yeah. He was saying a lot of people are saying that he, like, Dante Moore didn't separate himself enough from Austin. I think Novosad or Novosad. Yeah. So we don't know yet. We'll see. I'm very interested. And that was going to be my championship contender, but I need to know who the quarterback is because I think they have a dark horse Heisman candidate in the backfield that we'll talk about later. But I don't know, but my bad. Let's get back out of here. Apologize.
Yeah, there are so many sleepers in the Big Ten to choose from. I mean, I went between a couple of different teams. My sleeper is going to be Michigan.
It's kind of hard to even think Michigan is a sleeper.
Right. It is. But again, I'm kind of cheating with the over under here. They're not a sleeper, obviously, a name and pedigree, but some will call last year the year from hell, right? They lose all of these people. They didn't have a quarterback situation, but I'm looking at their year as actually like pretty successful. They actually had kind of a great year on the lowest of low keys. They beat Ohio State, then they beat Alabama, and then they signed the number 1 player in the country off of a transition year. Who wouldn't sign up for that? Right? Like, if somebody told you were going to win the national championship, then you were going to lose your head coach, your entire coaching staff, and almost 50 seniors, whatever it was, 50 people that left for either a draft, graduation, whatever, you would come back the next year, you would beat Ohio State again, or your top rival. Then you would beat a marquee program like Alabama, and then you would sign the number 1 player in the country. So I like where Michigan is at. One thing about them, again, they have an identity and they have a culture. And those are the type of ththings that you can build on. So is Michigan going to be a playoff team? I don't know, but can they be like a really fun, scrappy, like make your life hell 9-3, 8-4 team in the Big Ten and really like muck something up? Absolutely. So Michigan is going to be my sleeper.
Yeah, not mad at that. Michigan's a good team. I think I like Bryce Underwood a lot. It's hard for me to put that much pressure on the freshman after what we saw from Dylan Raiola last year.
Right. Hey, but if you're looking for another sleeper, them Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm just putting you down.
I'm putting you down.
I'm putting you down. Listen, I'd have been out there. Okay.
Right.
Kirk Ferentz, elite football coach. Iowa winning his programs. They went out and finally got a quarterback. Iowa last 6 years is 32-1 when they scored 21 points in a game. That's it. 32-1 when they scored 21. So that lets you know the defense is solid. I like where they at quarterback wise. So that would probably be my secondary sleeper, but I think Michigan is like a tier above them.
Okay. All right. I mean, if you're talking about teams at the top, if I'm picking a winner, I'm not going with Ohio State. I'm going with Penn State. I think Penn State's the best team in the country, honestly. They would be my preseason number one, and it starts on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, we talked about Drew Allen, him being back. They got the deepest and most experienced offensive line in the country. They brought back both of their backs from last year. They might have lost Tyler Warren, but they still have 2 tight ends who are going to return, and they're going to be able to replicate at least some of that production. The receiving core got upgraded through the portal. They got Kyron Hudson from USC, Trevor Pena from Syracuse. Couple question marks on the defense, like new defensive coordinator and Jim Knowles. Lost a lot of depth, but they got quality at every position. And that secondary is going to be pretty hellacious too. A.J. Harris, Elliot Washington, Zion Tracy, all have a lot of experience. I think the big X factor for Penn State is just the head coach. Can he win? Like, can they win big games? And like, this should be the season that he kind of gets the monkey off his back, because this team is like talented. Like, they are super talented. For me, we're going to get into this later, but this is going to be the team that wins the Big Ten and may walk away as the champions.
Yeah, it does feel like that. It feels like every year for the last probably 4 or 5 years, the team that's been primed to win won, like on a national level, right? Like, Georgia with all their talent, and then Michigan with all their returnees, and then Ohio State. And now it feels like Penn State is like that next, like, this is their moment, veteran returning team. So I like that pick. I have them in my Big Ten championship game. But I'm going to go with Ohio State as my Big Ten champion. And if I think it's going to be a situation where Ohio State probably doesn't look like that team at the beginning of the year, but they're going to be a team that catches their stride late. So I have Penn State beating Ohio State in the regular season, and then they rematch in the Big Ten championship, and Ohio State takes it. I think Ryan Day, without as much pressure on him, I think we're going to see a more relaxed day, which I think, coaching style wise, I think is going to lend itself to him being more comfortable in big moments and him being able to take more chances. I like Brian Hartline being elevated to OC. At the end of the day, you could make the case that Ohio State has the 2 best players in the country, and they play on opposite sides of the field. So when you got, somebody on offense that can change the game, and then somebody on defense that can change the game in that way, it's hard to pick against it. So, not mad at the Penn State pick, but I just think Ohio State, by the time that we're in December, is just gonna look like a team that is in position to potentially repeat. So they're my Big Ten champion.
Yeah, I was going back and forth between Ohio State and Penn State, but just because of the running game, I'm gonna go with Penn State. We talk about Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. I was there when Nick Singleton had this coming out party in Auburn a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Who is this kid?" And just to see that he's still there, and now like he's still there, and he's getting better. He hasn't regressed. He's getting better as time goes. When you have that type of offensive line with those two, when you have those type of offensive lines with that type of offensive line, with those 2 running backs, all that tells me is, and you got a quarterback who has the first round pedigree as well in Allen. Now, even if you have a guy like Caleb Downs, if they have to play Ohio State, he's going to have to come down into the box, and now you're going to leave your corners one-on-one. Nobody's talking about is Devontae from I think is it Devontae Ross from Troy, baller. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was talking about Iowa earlier. He smoked Iowa last year, probably close to 200. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so when you got Devontae Ross, you add him to that mix where they're going to get one-on-ones because of how good they are going to be running the ball. So with that being said, and you talk about the secondary, A.J. Harris, you remember him from UGA. I mean, this guy was all world coming out of high school. Didn't want to wait a year, goes, and everybody thought he was going to Fran Brown. James Franklin came in like a thief in the night. I mean, that was like the deal that was done. AJ Harris is going with Fran Brown. Done deal. Don't even ask about it. I don't even know how James Franklin got that done. Now, I think this is the season. I think there like even last year, like even in the game, there was nothing he really did wrong. Like It's just like the ball just continues to not bounce his way. And he's really, in my opinion, I think he's the Andy Reid of college football at this point. He just needs that breakthrough. And if he gets that one, you got to be careful because they may get 3 or 4. So 2 or 3. They may get multiple. 3 or 4 is crazy. He may get more than one. Matter of fact, let's just clear that up.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful because Penn State can become that powerhouse. Last year, I mean, Sexy Red on the sideline. I mean, dog, I did not. James Franklin, I was unfamiliar with your game. We talk about everybody who went to Colorado. This man brought Sexy Red, bro. So, I mean, at that point, I'm like, all right, Franklin gets it.
Yeah, so he might got something to him.
Yeah. I was unfamiliar, coach. You know, so I think I'm gonna go with Penn State as my championship winner for the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, Ken, you talked about culture, man. Like they've clearly built something here that everyone has bought into. Like Drew Aller could have left this year and been a first-round pick. Possibly could have been the second quarterback taken off the board after Cam Ward early in the first round, and still came back to Penn State because they clearly believe that they can win the title this year. I think it's something to that. Yeah, I just think it's something to be said that this is a veteran, experienced group of guys who clearly have something to play for. And if they can stay healthy, the sky's the limit.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I mean, but even top to bottom though, this Big Ten conference is stacked. Like we ain't even hit Indiana or Illinois or.
This is going to be the most interesting conference. This is going to be the most interesting conference I think to watch this year. Because you have these teams at the top, like you said, but then also like this like middle tier of teams that could push for playoff spots and be really good. So I'm interested to see what happens with the Big Ten this year. We'll get to the playoffs in a bit, but I'm interested to see how many from each conference each of us have.
Yeah, I was like, we'll talk about it when we get there. Moving on, last Power 4 conference, all of our wheelhouse of the SEC. It's hard to pick a sleeper in a conference like this because they've been such a powerhouse over the last 15 to 20 years. But if you do have a sleeper, who are you looking at in the SEC?
Mine is Oklahoma. Coach on the hot seat, but I think that I have seen enough of this story of like really good quarterback coming in and elevating a program. Right. And like the most recent example is obviously Cam Ward last year with Miami. I think John Mateer coming in, especially with his offensive coordinator, we fingers crossed have a much healthier offense in Oklahoma this year. Last year, they were kind of ravaged by injuries. But I think John Mateer coming in with his offensive coordinator has the ability to potentially elevate Oklahoma again into like kind of the same breadth as like how I was looking at Michigan. Like, can this be like a really fun, like 9-win team that, on the right Saturday might upset a Texas or might upset a LSU or something like that to throw things out of whack in the SEC. So Oklahoma lost a ton in the portal. They didn't really replace it with a lot of Power 4 experience. A lot of it was like really good group of 5 players that are going to be playing up. So when you have a lot of those same guys on one team, there are question marks. But I think, Brent Venables, the defense is going to be elite. We know that. And I think if John Mateer can elevate the offense, then Oklahoma is going to be in a good spot. So I'm going with the Sooners.
I mean, it's a make or break here for Oklahoma.
Right.
If they don't make some motion this year, they risk falling behind. Having just moved to the SEC and now other like powerhouse recruiting schools are moving into that area of the country. So
isn't that a crazy like shift of luck? It's like Oklahoma, who had won the Big 12 probably like 6 years in a row, 7 years in a row, they moved to the SEC. Not only do they take a step back, but Texas is the one that steps into the forefront, and they're like, some people's eyes, the premier team in the SEC. So it's kind of like a double whammy.
It's not just Texas. It's like now Texas Tech like has money to spend. SMU like is putting together, 11-win seasons. Oklahoma really risking a lot if they don't really get it together this season. Like they could be taking a step back in terms of how we look at the pedigree of college football.
Yeah.
Good sleeper pick. I like a team with their backs against the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You know where this is going. So what you're saying is hammer the spread against Baylor.
Man, listen. This is what I'm saying. They're a sleeper. I got no prediction, but I'm gonna just say why. Talent wise, if Jackson Arnold can just be okay, he doesn't have to be great. When you look at that receiver room, you've got Cam Coleman, who was actually ranked higher than Wyron Williams coming out of high school, and he showed flashes last year. People put him in that same conversation as Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams as far as how dynamic he can be. On the other side, you get the number one transfer wide receiver in the portal, Eric Singleton, legit 4.2 40 speed. You could use him in a ton of ways. He'll be getting the ball out of the backfield as well as being a returner. And then you got probably the best, who some people feel like is better than both of them, and Malcolm Simmons, who is a phenomenal athlete. He's probably the best safety on the team as well. Hella explosive. So I think that just on a perimeter, if you can, I don't think there are a lot of there aren't many SEC teams that can guard them man to man when you just go 3 wide receivers. The offensive line gets an upgrade. You get a potential first round pick in Xavier Chaplin from Virginia Tech, 6'7" mammoth of a man. You probably got the best center in the country in Connor Lew, who, if he comes out, some people feel like he can. It's hard to get a first round center, but they feel like he can be one. And now this guy may not, and a lot of people at USC felt like he wasn't great at all, Mason Murphy. But when you look at the totality of the offensive line, you just need somebody to be steady at that right tackle position. And I think that Auburn has really retooled the offensive line. On the defensive line, first round pick in Keldrick Falk, monster. On the other side, you got Keyron Crawford, who's had a very, very good fall, really explosive. And 2 NFL corners, and Jay Crawford, who was a freshman all SEC last year, who's been strapping stuff. And then you got Ken Lee, who NFL teams are looking at as a potential 3 or 4 as a slot corner. And he's playing a perimeter now. So when you have that type of talent around, I'm like, all right, Hugh Freeze, it's on you at this point. You spend all the money. You got $1 million quarterback, $1 million in receivers. You got $1 million offensive line. All right, bro, we need $1 million coach. So I think DJ Durkin, former head coach of Maryland, came back to Texas. He's rebuilt his brand after he had the tragedy at Maryland. Ohio State was looking to poach him. Auburn paid him handsomely. I think he's getting close to $2.5 million a year to call defense. And he's going to give last year, Auburn's defense wasn't the problem. It was the offense giving the ball away. I mean, they was passing out the ball like ones in Magic City, bro. Like, hey, hey. So at the end of the day, I think where we are now, Auburn has a real opportunity to do some really good things this year if they can keep it together. Now, I can go the other way fast. Trust me. We'll see tomorrow night in Baylor. But I think as it stands right now, Auburn does have an opportunity to be good because of the talent they do have on the roster.
Yeah. I don't know if there's this team has to win this year than Auburn.
No, they got to win.
No question about it. You're talking about it could go the other way. If they were, for whatever reason, to go to Baylor and lose that game, I mean, it's going to be 10,000 degrees on the plains. Through December.
Man, listen. If they lose to Baylor, it could get bad so fast when you look at that schedule. Like that first 6 is bad. Like, so you want momentum for Auburn. And this is the thing. I was talking about the game where I was talking about Nick Singleton's coming out party against Auburn. I was at this game. Penn State goes to Auburn and beat the you know what out of them. But when you talk about the energy of that stadium, when they got there going into the game, we'll be fine, it'll be good. Auburn is so ready to be a good team. Some fan bases that's like, it doesn't matter if you win 9-10 games, they're going to be the same. Auburn is like a Nebraska. Auburn is like one of those teams that if they get good, you will not stop hearing about how good Auburn is. No college coach wants to go play, no matter what the record is. Nobody wants to go play in Jordan-Hare Stadium at night on a Saturday. It's almost like going to LSU. Like you just don't. Weird stuff happens. So, and it's been a long time since we've seen the weird stuff has been happening to Auburn for the past, like 4th and 31. Like what? Like that's the weird type of stuff that's been happening to Auburn. I think if the ball starts to if Lady Luck favors the Tigers this year, you can see them get on one of those runs where the whole country is captivated by the blue and orange. And they got Nike this year.
Yeah, I mean,
drip.
You selling Auburn hard, but what Kendrick Perkins say? On blindfold sleep.
I was going to say we're going to be all right. I was hoping.
Like sleeping with the AC on. That's how sleep I am on Auburn right now. I'm snoring on Auburn this year.
I was hoping for we gonna be all right.
Say Kendrick Perkins, not Kendrick Lamar. If I had to pick a sleeper, man, it'd probably be Texas A&M.
Okay.
I really like Marcel Reed. I think the run game is gonna be good. They got Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss, Ruben Owens. O-line is returning top 6 from last year, and they're massive up front, bro. Like,
man,
I think the average size of that line is like 6'6", like 330 pounds.
Like, I played with them on college football, and I take like their 8th offensive lineman and put him at tight end, and he runs like a 70 speed. I'm like, bro, I haven't done much research on these guys, but just because of this, I think they're really good. Like all of their offensive linemen are like ranked highly. Like that's an insane team when you go look at their roster for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the defense was pretty bad last year. They were like boom or bust. A lot of that was the secondary, but the secondary was young. A lot of sophomores, juniors. Now they're coming back. They got a little bit more experience. They didn't get a lot of help from the pass rush last year, but they added a couple guys, Hayes and Cersei, to the mix. I think this would be a team that could surprise some people this year. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas A&M upset a few teams on the schedule.
Well, I'm out of that. I'm interested to see it and who y'all got as y'all's conference champions. I'll let y'all go first. I'll pull up the rear.
Yeah, Dukes, go ahead, man. Because I'm still contemplating myself. Like this took me a long time to decide.
Man, I know nobody's gonna want to hear this, and I know people are gonna think this is crazy. Give me UGA, dog. Give me
crazy.
Give me Georgia, man.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, but it's a little crazy.
Give me Georgia, and I'm gonna tell you why.
You'll say make the case.
I think they're getting back to what they've been in the past, which is a really good defensive team that is saying, you know what, we just gonna stop you. When you look at what they have defensively, the defensive line, you've got rotational pieces that can really get after the quarterback. Maybe you've got the beginnings of what we saw when you talk about Elijah Griffin, who people are saying is the closest thing you've seen to a Jalen Carter in a long time. When you look at the young guys that they're bringing in, you look at that linebacking core, which is, in my opinion, by far the best linebacking core in the country. When you have a guy like C.J. Allen, Raylan Wilson, 2 uber athletic athletes, then you follow those up with 2 guys who will probably end up being maybe drafted higher than them, and Chris Cole and Justin Williams. You got veteran cornerbacks who've been there already. You got some blue chip guys who haven't gotten their chance to play as Georgia recruits. I think after Caleb Downs, KJ Bolden submits himself as the heir to the throne as far as being the best safety in the country this year. And then you got tight ends galore. You got Elias Williams. You got Ethan Barbour. Like the new guys have been so impressive that I think they get their opportunity. Nate Frazier is always just reading the block the right way, one step away from breaking it every time he touches the ball. And I think Gunnar Stockton has a relationship with this team where it's like the blue collar mentality that I don't think they've had since Stetson Bennett. Nobody's expecting it, and it seems like he's got that Jake Fromm-y, Stetson Bennett-y, like, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'm not just 6'9", a 6'7" long-haired quarterback from California, but hey, man, I want to play some football. And I think that's what Georgia's needed, that grind, that grimy type grit. You got Texas at home, and I think that's going to be a big one. And you got Bama at home. So now I think it's played out favorably for them schedule-wise. So I said, okay, cool. I think nobody's talking about Georgia, and everybody I talk to is saying this is the year that you get your lick back on Georgia. And I think this is the year that they can band together and say, nah, bro, like we still UGA.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that at all, because that was one of the 2 teams I was kind of contemplating going with.
Okay.
Georgia, I think they don't have as high of a ceiling as a Texas or some of the other top teams in the conference, but I think they probably have the highest floor of any team in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they win. When You know, they may not be able to put up 35, 40 every game, but if they can hold you to 21 and get to 23 before you,
right,
they're gonna be good. They're gonna be
Right.
good to go. I mean, the big question mark is gonna be Mike Bobo, really, and then the decisions that they make on the offensive side of the ball. But I'm not mad at that pick at all. I mean, I'm not gonna go with them just because of the questions that I have, but I'm gonna go with another team with another coach another team with loaded with talent with a coach who has to get it done at some point in time, and it's LSU.
Okay.
Talent, loaded with talent, all over the field. We ain't even got to talk about the offense. We know what the offense is gonna look like. That problem is and always has been with this coach with Brian Kelly has been the defense. But this year I think it might be a little different. Harold Perkins is healthy. Whit Weeks should be ready to go. They could be the best linebacker duo in the country. West Weeks should be healthy. They added Patrick Payton and Bernard Gooden to the defensive front in the portal. Mansour Delane could be their best corner this year. I like DJ Pickett. How many times you see 6'5" corners?
Yeah.
I love the size that they have at corner. I think he could have a big year if he gets a chance to really get in the mix. I think the talent is there for them to turn the corner and win the conference. Now that schedule is hell. Obviously, like I said, that week 1 game is gonna tell us a lot. They got Ole Miss, Bama, and Oklahoma, but they got so much talent. It's kind of hard for me to not go with them to win the conference. At some point, it's gotta the rubber has to meet the road for Brian Kelly, and I think this might be the year that it actually happens for him.
Shout out to DJ Pickett. One of the main reasons he picked LSU is because he wanted to be able to just walk to the complex from where he was living. He's such a football head. Like everything that they were selling to other schools about the outside the football life actually turned him off. So, you know, you got Miami. Like he was really considering Miami. And when it came down to it, it's like, bro, I don't want to hear about everything y'all got going on outside the football field. I want to be able to wake up and go do football every day. And that's talking to his pops. So I did a really in-depth interview with him last year. That's what it came down to. So, man, shout out to DJ Pickett. When you're that talented, size-wise, and gifted, and all you want to do is wake up and go play football, I think he has freshman All-American written all over him.
Yeah, big fan.
Okay.
Let me ask y'all this: Is Harold Perkins really? Are we still in love with Harold Perkins as a freshman?
Depends what role he's playing. Because first year he was looking like, you know, incredible, and then last years he's been on the Pat Bev. It's like Harold Perkins trick y'all, man. He just be out there running around.
Yeah.
With nothing.
You feel me? Like it's like because when we saw the first year we saw Harold Perkins, it looked like he was just a see ball get ball edge rusher, and then when you put him in coverage, or when you put him as a stand up off ball backer, we didn't hear as much about him. Now, I think the key to it is him getting to the quarterback, but does he impact the game from a stand up linebacker position? So I think it's a conversation that has to be had at this point. We'll see soon. But I think a lot of people are still remembering that freshman year. That name is attached to it. But what have we seen since then?
I mean, I'm gonna err on the side that we're gonna see a return to form from Harold Perkins. Obviously, coming off the ACL is gonna be a little tough. But I think that when you're that young and you're coming off an injury like that, you ain't had nothing to do but sit and watch film.
Yeah. I think Brian Kelly is ultimately going to put him back at that edge rusher spot. And I understand the conversation of, well, he probably doesn't have the size for the NFL and et cetera. And it's like, look, if I'm Brian Kelly, I'm going to set Harold Perkins down and say, look, I understand you trying to do what's best for your family, but I got to do what's best for mine.
Hello.
So you're going to rush that passer, and the NFL going to worry about where you're going to play on the back end. But for the here and the now, for my self-preservation, and so you can get some stats and potentially be an All-American and be in line for some awards, we're going to put you on the edge, and we're going to have to rock out.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Like, man, stand them up for 2 and rush them on 3. It sounds simple to me.
Yeah, that would be my plan.
Yeah. Standing up for 2, rush them on 3. Hello.
All right, Ken, you had this big build up to who you had as a champion.
Yeah, it was real. It's gonna be real anticlimactic because Deuce kind of stole my thunder because I wasn't expecting him to say Georgia, but I got Georgia as well. And this is potentially flawed logic, but this is the way that I think about it. And I'm just gonna start with this question: what was Georgia's identity last year?
Bubble screen.
Let's say, did they have one? Because they couldn't block, run, or pass on offense. They couldn't tackle or rush the passer or stop the run on defense. Yet they still won the SEC over a much more talented on paper Texas team. And when I look at this year's Georgia team, I don't think they're going to have the same problems as last year. I think Kirby Smart last year truly established himself as like a separated tier of coaching, especially in the SEC in particular. But I think on a national scale, taking a team that we saw was very limited and still elevating them to a conference champion. So I think the vibes are going to be a little bit better in the locker room this year with Georgia. I think the receiving room is much improved. I think the running game is going to be a little bit better. I expect the defense to be better by Georgia standards because I don't think it can be much worse if we're talking about just like from a tackling and execution standpoint. A lot of the key games that they had on the road are at home this year. So I'm going with Georgia to win the SEC. Does that mean they're going to go 12-0, 11-1? Probably not. But I just think that I like this roster better than last year. I think that Kirby Smart, obviously, top coach in college football. Those two things paired together, I think Georgia's gonna win it again. And one more time, it's young Wanna Stockton. That's what we calling him, Wanna. Until we see otherwise.
They love Wanna too. The team loves him.
Yeah, they do.
That's Wanna Stockton.
They do. Like I said, I'm not mad at the pick. I went back and forth. Ultimately, I went talent over, the stability that I think Georgia's going to have. I think just the floor is a little bit higher for LSU. But I can't help but notice that neither one of us picked Texas. We didn't. Kenny, you cover Alabama. You didn't take Bama.
I got Bama in the SEC. I got Bama in the SEC championship against Georgia.
So, no Texas. No Texas though. We're not giving Texas any love. No love for Arch Manning, leading the number one team in the country right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm saying I got them as a playoff team, but I still think there's some levels to it. And when I look at these two teams, Georgia, I give them the edge in coaching. Bama, I would actually probably give them the edge in personnel outside of offensive line over Texas. I think they got a better defense. I really like the receiving core. So slightly, I got Bama over Texas, but Texas is still gonna be a playoff team. It's not like I got them going 8-4.
All right. Real quick, I just want each of you to hit a group of 5 team you think could make some noise this year.
SMU, Southern Miss, or is that USM? USM.
Oh.
SMU. Give me Southern Miss, man. Huff bringing his whole team from Marshall team that was balling last year. Got a really good quarterback. I don't know how he kept him out the portal, but I think Huff with everything that went on at Marshall, he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder, proving that he's been a good coach, and I think he's got the guys to do it with.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Tulane. Been steadily building in the last couple of years. Willie Fritz, John Summerall, love what he's doing. He was at Troy. Continue to build that thing at Tulane. And then again, just like one of the more underrated moves, I know it happened late in the calendar and he has, his whole legal situation, but Jake Resloff from BYU transferring into Tulane is a potential program elevating situation where he can come in, hurt BYU, obviously, again, legal situation, but we're looking at BYU differently because they don't have him, and I'm looking at Tulane differently because they do have him. So I think him coming into a team that was already going to be in the playoff mix, he comes in, elevates their quarterback position, because that's been one that's been in flux for them for a couple of years. I like where Tulane stands.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of stole my thunder there. I was also going to go with Tulane for the exact same reasons that you just said. So I'm not even going to dive into all of it because I just be repeating what you just said. Love the move that they just made late in the calendar. Like you said, it's been a team that's been steadily building. They're going to be. I actually have them as a playoff team. So other teams we could have mentioned in a group of 5: Boise State, Toledo, Navy is always going to be hanging around there, even though I hate that wing T offense.
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville State gonna be better than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Kelly from Auburn, longtime Alabama coach. He recruits well. He's got some guys. He's got Curtis Perry, who everybody was waiting on at Bama, never really panned out, and how he's with Coach Kelly down there. They got a lot of transfers in, and yeah, I think that's one of those teams that you really don't want to play early.
Yeah, for sure. James Madison was another team that I was kind of thinking about too, but ultimately,
what about Coastal Carolina? MJ Morris. I don't know if y'all remember him.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, you know, a lot of controversy about him redshirting after going 3-1, but he has pedigree. He was the Carrollton quarterback before Julian Lewis, who was all world. So now he's finally getting the rock in his hands again. And last time we saw him in Power 4 football with a starter's role, he was 3-1. So we'll see how that transitions to Coastal Carolina, where they got some talent down there too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's get into some Heisman candidates then. Like, who do you guys have a dark horse? Who's the favorite? Who do you guys think walks away with the Heisman?
Yeah, my dark horse, again, I'm just going by who is not among the top 7-8 guys in odds. Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. I think if Notre Dame,
crazy that he's not in the top 7 or 8 or odds.
Yeah, I mean, it's again the Heisman. The Heisman, like NFL MVP, is a quarterback position. So you're gonna see Arch and Aller and Lagway and Sellers, and the list goes on and on. Jeremiah Love, I think he has the potential to have some wild plays. He had a lot in the playoffs. Notre Dame, if they are going to be as good as I think they're going to be, he's going to have some, some marquee moments. I think the fact that he has the opportunity to start fast against Miami week 1, stake his claim, I think is going to be really big. So Jeremiah Love is my dark horse. As far as my Heisman winner, again, this is like following along with the theme of week one moment. Probably going to have the most wins because their schedule is going to be the easiest compared to his peers and the quarterback. I'm going with Cade Klubnik. So I think Cade Klubnik has a big moment week 1. Clemson is playing in the weakest conference of the most of these Heisman guys, so they're probably going to be 11-1, 12-0 at the end. You cap that off with the conference championship. He's the quarterback, etc. All the narratives around it. I'm going with Cade Klubnik as my winner, but I think Jeremiah Love is going to be sitting next to him in the ceremony.
Man, my dark horse is going to be, speaking of Tulane, their former running back, Mekhi Hughes at Oregon. I think that he's a really tough runner. He's shown the production that he's put up at Tulane, I think over 1,200 yards in back-to-back years. I think at Oregon, they haven't had a running back like this in a while who's really tough, not less of a speed guy and more of a bruiser. In that conference, I think he fits really well. And my guy is the opposite of yours. I'm going Garrett Nussmeier. He's somebody who's getting some first-round consideration as far as in some of these mock drafts. People think he's a lot better than what people give him credit for. And I just look at the speed that he has on the outside. When you talk about Barron Brown from Kentucky, who's I don't know who's faster, him or Aaron Anderson. Both of these guys can fly. And then you probably got the fastest running back in the country in the backfield in Cade Durham. So I'm like, man, I mean, I'm just looking at, and Brian Kelly can pride himself on quarterbacks being Heisman. So he knows how to make sure that, like, you know what, if we don't do nothing else, you're going to be scared of this offense, and we're going to put these guys in a position to be successful. So I think he's motivated that even if, I mean, can you fire a 9-win coach with a Heisman Trophy winner? So I think he'll be motivated to make if
the vibes aren't great. You already know my rule. Like, for the most, college football fans want to win, but for the most part, they just want to have a good time.
Right.
LSU fans are not having a good time right now. And
it don't matter if they do have a good time.
If they go 9-3, it's not gonna be a great time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. So I'm expecting them to have, but I think he'll be pushing for Nussmeier to get that, for him to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country. So we've seen Jaden Daniels do it, not comparing them, but I'm just saying we've seen that offense be able to put some big numbers up. So I think they'll be in that range this year again.
Yeah, my dark horse is probably gonna be Ryan Williams. I I think he can have a phenomenal year. Obviously, you know, he was a big play guy. That 177-yard performance at Georgia still kind of haunts me from last season. But
Something
I think
about freshman receivers torturing Georgia, right?
yeah,
Devontae Smith in the Natty, Ryan Williams. I don't know if Julio or Calvin Ridley or somebody, Mark. I don't know if any of them had a freshman moment against Georgia, but there's something about that for sure.
right. And with all the hype, you know, him coming back with this team, with this unit, I think I think it's a little crazy he's not mentioned as much because he has so much hype. But I could see him being in the Heisman mix. Ultimately, my winner is going to be Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. I think he's going to put up huge numbers this year. He's going to have the moments. I think 2 of the last 5 winners were receivers, so I'm going to take my chance at receiver because the quarterback position is going to be kind of so stacked. The only thing that I would say about Jeremiah Smith or anybody really winning the Heisman is that it's going to be hard to push away from that Arch Manning narrative because that last name carries so much pedigree and cachet that it really don't matter what you like, what the numbers are going to be. If Texas is good, Arch Manning is going to be a finalist for the Heisman.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I know how the Manning machine works. So if he's even a top 15 quarterback in the country and that Texas team is good, dude might be walking away with the Heisman just based on narrative alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel that. We're gonna see though. We're gonna see. I think I'm really interested to see what Steve Sarkisian does with Arch Manning because he didn't have a plan for Arch Manning last year, quite as it was kept. I mean, there was no rhyme or reason to when Arch Manning played. And when he did it, and for the most part, when he did go into the game, he was running like quarterback powers. It was kind of like when Kirby had Justin Fields, and it's like, oh, Justin Fields out there on a fake punt, or you know, he's coming in to run quarterback power. You know, Sark was kind of doing him the same way. The conversation obviously wasn't carried out in the same way. Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens, you know, with the full offseason of Sark.
That fake punt was wild.
Nah, that was. Yeah, something about Kirby Smart and quarterbacks is still unanswered. But
man, if you're a 5-star quarterback, I don't know if you come to Georgia.
Jared Curtis, he ain't mean that. Jared Curtis, if you're watching, he did not mean that.
I love you. But the track record.
Track record ain't great.
Track record ain't great.
But it's okay that Justin Fields' last play at Georgia was a fake punt. My bad.
No, I was about to say it's all good because Young Wunna is about to break a generational curse.
Yeah, one hard. And you know that's Mike Bobo boy because there was a time where people thought that he was going to go to Auburn because of Bobo. Like, that's his guy. So his son is the center, and his partner is his nephew. That's his nephew. Mike Bobo is to Gunner. So, it's a family affair.
What's that?
No, I mean I think you're right though. Sark didn't really have a plan for Arch last year, and quiet as kept. Like I think he knew that the talent gap between Arch and Quinn Ewers was pretty vast. I think he just went with the veteran arm, and knowing that Quinn Ewers was going to be somewhat reliable, like he would rather have that B+ offense than A+ with a floor of B- for a young quarterback. But I think going into this year, sky's the limit. Obviously, he has all the talent in the world, but you're going to have moments where Arch is going to turn the ball over, and that's really going to be the big thing for Texas and for Arch this year. So, yeah. Who knows? I mean, do both you guys have Texas as a playoff team at least? I know Ken, you said you did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk playoffs. I mean, just give me your top 12, and then let's start with the top 12, and then we'll pick the national championship.
All right, I'll pop it off. 1 seed Clemson, no surprise there. 2 seed Ohio State over Georgia. Usually the SEC is reserved for that 1 spot or that 2 spot, but I think Georgia's gonna have more losses than Clemson. I think the Big Ten is just gonna get more respect than the SEC this year. it's like kind of trending in that direction. Think about the offseason conversations and stuff about the Big Ten taking over the sport. So give me Ohio State 2 seed, Georgia 3 seed, Penn State 4 seed, 5 seed, Notre Dame 6 seed, Alabama 7 seed, Oregon 8 seed, Arizona State conference champion, 9 seed, Texas 10 seed, Illinois 11 seed, Texas Tech, Big 12, and then the group of 5 representative Tulane 12 seed.
All right. I'm gonna go. My 1 seed, LSU. I think they pop off week 1. They get this win. They wrap up the 1 seed if they can just win. If they win the SEC championship. So my 1 seed is LSU. 2, Penn State. 3, Clemson. 4, Texas. And then 5, Georgia. 6, Ohio State. 7, Notre Dame. 8, Bama. 9, Big 12 champ, Texas Tech. 10, Oregon. 11, SMU. And 12, Tulane.
All right.
Well, went right in there. I think you had, except for the Big 12, multiple in each of the Power 4?
Yeah, multiple in each of the Power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the exception of no, I got SMU in. Yeah.
And so I think this is the year we have a lot of. So you got. I'm gonna go Georgia as the 1, and everybody else just falls in line. So I got from the SEC, I got Georgia, Texas, Florida, LSU. I think they get 4. I don't know how. Don't ask me today. But I'm going. That's where I'm going. Big 10. I'm going Ohio State. I'm going Oregon and Penn State. Then we go ACC. I like SMU, and I definitely like Clemson. At large, guys, not at large, but group of 5. I got SMU. I think Charles Huff does the unimaginable. I think they can run the table with what they have quarterback wise. I think they could be really good. And I got 2 slots left that I just don't know how to feel because I don't have a good enough grasp on the college football playoffs. But if it were anybody else that I think deserves that could really get in there, I would probably go Miami. I think they have a shot because I really think that Carson Beck is better than what he has shown previously. And I don't know if you can – I know this probably could not happen, but there's one team that I think is going to be really good, and I think they could have the best quarterback in the country outside of that who we're talking about, and that's Ole Miss. I think that guy is dynamic. I really
yeah.
So that's a very jumbled playoff, and I think all those guys can be in there. But I don't think SEC can get 5, but I think they got 5 that could be worthy for sure.
Yeah, I think they're gonna want to spread the love a little bit, though. I think that's gonna be the big thing. Is why I didn't stack my playoff.
So what y'all went for? What was y'all playoff format?
It's just straight 12, like the 12 best, and then the conference champions are just wherever they are.
Yeah. How many did you get from the SEC?
3.
How many did you get, Sam?
4.
Who'd you have the most from, Ken?
I think the Big 10.
4.
Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. I have 4 from the Big 10.
4. That's 7. 3.
And then I have 2 from the Big 12, 1 from the ACC, and then 1 at large. So
I missed the Big 12, Colorado.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's essentially predicting that the Big 12 is going to surpass the ACC this year as the 3rd power conference. Potentially I'd take, because the ACC definitely has more of those like traditional powers and teams that if they get their stuff together could be in that mix. But I think like the Big 12 is I think a couple of these teams in the Big 12 are going to follow like an Indiana-ish model where it's like the strength of schedule may not be great, but they're probably going to be 11-1 at the end of it. And it's like the committee is more so valuing like the number of wins and potentially margin of victory over more losses, but a better schedule. So I think that's kind of where the difference was for me.
Yeah. No, I feel it. Well, who do you guys have in the national championship game? Pick a winner.
Yeah, I have Clemson and Ohio State in the national championship. I'm going with Clemson.
Dukes?
Give me Georgia versus Penn State, and I'm going Georgia.
Hey man.
Hey,
Young,
bless you,
hey,
bro.
listen, young Warner breaking generational curses. He
Bro,
breaking
if
generational
Stetson Bennett can do it, he can do it, bro.
Yeah.
Hey man, steady might be seeing some NFL action this year.
He hard. I think Gunner pretty good, bro. I think athletically he can do stuff with his. He reminds me of Stetson Bennett, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm not trying to turn this into like an overly Georgia propaganda moment, but if I'm just posing a question. If the roles were reversed in the SEC championship and Arch Manning replaced an injured Quinn Ewers and led them to a comeback win in the SEC championship, we will probably be looking at that a lot differently than what Gunner actually did, which was replacing an injured Carson Beck down at halftime, because Georgia had nothing going on offense in that game before Carson got hurt. Gunner comes in. It wasn't the prettiest, but they still got the dub. Seems like he's almost getting no credit for that. I think it's just because of how badly Notre Dame beat them down in the Sugar Bowl. But Gunner's proven that he can. He's proven that he can play. So it's just a matter of doing it for a full season.
Man, that was a damn left tackle. Like, to be honest, like Monroe Freeland to be back, and he ended up being injured in that game.
Yeah,
but man, they ain't blocked that. They didn't block that end yet. Like, it still ain't blocked them.
It was there was a lot of things happening in the Sugar Bowl that was out of his control, and like that essentially a 2-play sequence where Freeland misses the block, they score a touchdown, and then they give up a touchdown coming out of half. Like, all right, well, I mean, what else is he supposed to do?
Yeah. They are 1,000%. I talk to guys on that team pretty often. They behind them.
Yeah, I mean, but Ken, goes to your point. It goes to that Manning propaganda, bro. Like, nobody else is gonna get that.
I'm just here to ask. I'm just here to ask real questions. You know what I'm saying? And whatever answer that I get back is what it is. But I was just curious. Like, the situations were reversed. That SEC championship game will probably be on loop on TV. I don't think I've seen that game since it happened.
Right.
I don't think I've seen a highlight. I don't think I've seen anything since that game happened. But if Arch had a Tua moment, that would have been like on the College Game Day montage.
For sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, even when Jalen Hurts had his moment, the year after the Tua moment, like
right.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna go ahead and pick my title winner. I got Penn State over LSU in the title. I think we're gonna see two of the more talented teams in the country go head up, and I think Penn State, that offensive line is just gonna be too much to deal with.
Who you think is the best offensive player on LSU?
Outside of the quarterback?
Yeah, probably Nussmeier.
Right? It could be the quarterback.
Probably Nussmeier.
Yeah.
Probably Nussmeier.
Yeah, I can go for that. Yeah, I love that running back. Like Durham, yeah. Not Durham, yeah.
Oh,
Barry too.
Yeah. K. Durham.
Yeah. Durham Cole. I mean, they got a lot of weapons, bro. Like even getting Brown from Kentucky, like he may be the fastest kid in the country. We'll see. Between him and Singleton, he was running track for Georgia Tech. I mean, he got a 10-2 in the state of Georgia at 100. Yeah, Georgia tripping, man. I don't know why you got the 18-year-old in the country that went off in the state championship game, and he ain't playing. Parlay son ran a 9.2 this summer.
Yeah, Gleaton, he ran I don't know if it was wind assisted, but I know he clocked a 9.79 in a race.
It was it was a wind assisted field.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this situation. You're right. It's like because he was also like awesome at Langston Hughes at receiver, really good. But I don't know. Like I guess I don't have the information on that. But in my mind, it's like if I'm him or someone in his inner circle and I see him run 9.79, I'm like, bro, you don't need to put on football pads no more. We need to go win this gold medal.
Right, man, and you know what? And that's what's going on because he's getting pulled so many different directions because it's like he has true Olympic speed, but the kid loves football, like loves football.
Hey, listen, I know Georgia will take him for sure.
Man, you know what? We gonna see. I think after that last performance, it was kind of the track coach was like, "Hey, look, Kirby, you ain't finna play him this year. Let me go on and get this, and maybe later on." So. We'll see. But after that state championship game, I got a phone call. It's like, can you get me in contact with that kid? We want to offer. Like the day after. Yeah. Like 4 catches, 175 yards. Bang 8 posts. We'll holler.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, before we slide on this, one game you looking forward to this weekend, week 1, real quick.
Auburn Baylor.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bama. I'm gonna go with Bama, Florida State, because regardless of what happens in that game, there's going to be a meltdown. Florida State's either going to melt down. I don't know if you saw when they released their depth chart, but they're going to have, I believe, 15 transfers in their starting lineup, offense and defense. Kind of crazy for a coaching year 6. So if it goes the other way and Bama goes down there and rolls them, it's going to be getting toxic in Tallahassee. And on the other end, if Ty Simpson goes out there and lays an egg and Bama loses,
yep,
get ready. Get ready, because the intensity is going to ratchet up in Tuscaloosa a lot. So I like those kind of hot seat type games where no matter what happens, it's going to be carnage. So give me Bama, Florida State is my game to watch.
I mean, I already talked about it. LSU, Clemson is my game to watch. I'm going to learn a lot about what LSU is made of in that game.
Mm-hmm.
If they can validate me in that game, I'm going to feel real good coming on the pod next week. And if they can't, I might not be on this mug next week.
No, I'm with that. I like I want, of course I got familiarity with both of these teams, but I want to see, I'm interested to see what Colorado does too, man. So Colorado, Georgia Tech I'll probably go 1A, 1B. Maybe Colorado, maybe just to see what Colorado looks like. Maybe they're the 1A and Auburn probably be the 1B just to see this week. Now, you know what? 1 and 1. I want to see, and they play at the same time, I think, too.
That has the potential to probably be like the funnest game.
Yeah.
Of the weekend. Like, not the highest stakes, but just like it is. I feel like that could just be like a fun game to watch. Like those going at it.
You don't know what you're gonna get because you got 2 quarterbacks that could potentially play for Georgia Tech. Because people always forget about Follow, but Follow got the state record for passing yards. Like, and last year he beat NC State pretty. He had a really good game, and I think he offers a different dynamic than Haynes King, and I think that's much the same thing. It's the same thing with Julian Lewis and Caden Salty. So you can see both of these quarterbacks. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun game.
Yeah, I also like South Carolina, Virginia Tech. I want to see what South Carolina looks like with some expectations.
No, for sure.
To the season.
And understand what they playing at?
They're playing in Atlanta.
I forgot, bro. Yeah. I wonder if they still do Enter the Sandman on the road or the neutral site.
I don't know if they're the home team or not, but if they were, I'm sure they would play it.
I think South Carolina's the home team.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think they're the home team. But yeah, man, looking forward to the season. It should be a good one. Like I said, man, if LSU pulls through, I'll be back next week. If not, it might just be y'all too, because I might have to hide my face for a couple weeks though. I can't be talking all this and be wrong.
We're gonna come back on next week. Like, Sammy not here. He's on the LSU message boards right now. Saying blowing off some steam and looking up buyouts.
Oh man.
Gotta be. All right, man. Y'all go ahead and plug our social so we can get up out of here.
Yeah, man. Twitter at SkinnyKenny _ on Instagram, Slimington. SLIMMINGTON. Last week I was tripping trying to spell that out. I got it right this week though.
For sure. At Dukes D Scoop on Twitter and Instagram, and at the Scoop with Dukes on YouTube.
And then you can find me at word.smith 2_ on IG. Again, that's at word.smith 2_ on IG. This is the Rec League. We'll see y'all next week.